11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. What a fight! I think Canelo won it.
Juan, the Hispanic causing panic, Lascano.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saves a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. How sweet the sound. That's going to be the anthem on Sunday morning. Y'all going to church on Sunday, even if you're not religious, right? And you're going to be singing that. That's going to be the anthem. Because a lot of you are lost right now. Like you're lost. A lot of you are blind. And it's okay. Like, I forgive you. Like it's okay. It's going to be okay. I'm just here to remind y'all what's going to happen. That's what I'm here to do. See, this fight, all of it is about, logic and reason versus belief and platitudes and a very strong will of convincing. The conviction, ladies and gentlemen, that some of these people picking Crawford have, the belief that they have in him is very inspiring. Like it's like I see that we all got to believe in something. Like, you know what I mean? See that is the that keeps us going. Like believing in something is like I remember my grandpa. Like he would always tell me, "Tienes que creer en algo." You got to believe in something. You just gotta pick and choose what you believe in. Like, you know what I mean? Like you gotta really very carefully on what you believe. Like, you know what I mean? Because at some point, sometimes that leap of faith isn't a leap. Like y'all trying to jump the Grand Canyon right now. I'm just saying. I just saw a breakdown. Good friend of mine. And I mean, the way that they're talking about this fight, the things that they're saying, right? Crawford, he can adjust to any style, right? Like he to anything, like based on what? What evidence? Like what? Show me. You tell me. And I mean, he's a high-level fighter, a multi-division champion, undisputed in 2 weight classes. He's like, I get he's talented. I get he can fight against different styles, but to say like that's his specialty, yeah, he could adjust to anything. Based on that, I get he's fought guys that have different styles, but to say that he's some chameleon in the ring, some magician, like he casts spells in the ring for some reason. Really? I get that Ricochet Burns and Yorokis Gamboa have two different styles. So, he beat both those styles. They're different styles. He adapted to their styles. I guess you could say that. But you could say that about any top fighter, really. They beat guys with different styles. Right? We could say, like, okay, I get it. Like Errol Spence and Cal Brook had two different styles of injuries. One was I-Man, right? It's like his opponents don't have superpowers. They have these, like, deficiencies, right? You had Foot out the door man. Who's that? Let's play a game with Crawford opponents, and let's see if the chat can guess who I'm talking about, right? Who's one foot out the door man, right? You tell me who this person is. His dad said he didn't even train as hard as he usually does, that his heart was no longer in it. That's why his dad threw in the towel, because he already had a foot out the door. Ding, 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 ding. Troy Mack got it. Everybody give Troy Mack a round of applause. All right? Give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Right? Shout out to the chat, by the way. Who's orbital bone man? Who's the guy that both orbital bones were fucked up in two different fights and hadn't fought at the weight class in years? Went all the way back down to welterweight with his two orbital bones. He's like the Cyclops. Only instead of having like the laser, they're just fucked up. Right? Who's that guy? He had a different style of deficiency to one leg out the door, man. Right? Cal Brook, look, Troy Mack is on. Like, give him a round of applause. Right? Oh, no, he fought all these. He adapted to all these styles. He adapted to the orbital bone fuck-ups of Cal Brook. He adapted to the man who had 1 foot out the door. His own dad said this guy was not taking the sport of boxing serious anymore. That's why he threw in the towel. And he was ahead in the fight. Right? I'm just saying. Shout out to Triple G and Errol Spence. Right? Who's crash in the car, man? Right? His deficiency was he couldn't talk anymore. Okay, his fucking teeth are blown out of the car crash. They had to replace his teeth, right? Was having weird, funny moments in some fights, including the Yurokis Gamboa. I'm not. That's another Cuban. Sorry, right? I'm confusing the Cubans here, right? Ugas, talking about Ugas, right? I had like this weird moment where he was hurt and Ugas didn't capitalize. Everyone was like, what the hell's going on here? Looked weird going into the fight. I mean, you tell me. Right? Arrow post car crash Spence. Let's give it away. Right? Let's just give it away here. That's what we fought. And well, why is these time making it big? Because I keep hearing people making these breakdowns and just saying shit. They're just saying things. They're just saying to say it. Oh, Crawford, he's that guy. He can adjust to any style. Like what? And what are we basing this on? Exactly. That he could adjust to any style, anywhere, and he's a chameleon, he's a magician. Whatever you do, he will adapt to it. Like, what are we talking about? What are you guys talking about? What are we doing? The last time Crawford had to do some type of adapting was the Mean Machine fight, the Porter fight, okay, and the Yurokis Gamboa fight, which he was losing. And what did Crawford do? He went from orthodox to southpaw, right? He switched stance. He's a switch hitter, right? And then he proceeded to beat the shit out of him that way. It's like Crawford's Super Saiyan style, right? That's when Crawford becomes Super Saiyan. He goes southpaw, right? That's when you know he means business, right? Or it just means when he's not good enough to beat them from orthodox, he goes southpaw. That's what it looks like to me. Because in all his best wins, in many of them, like the Errol Spence fight, he didn't bother going orthodox. It was better to fight him southpaw, right? That's where Crawford fights at his best. Like that's just that. Like it's this whole like he's gonna switch his like, give me a break. All right, he's gonna fight southpaw. That's what he's gonna do. All right, like this whole like you think he's gonna be switching in the middle of the fight over and over again? Okay, try it. I want to see it happen. Right? I want to see like Ding Ding is orthodox and he throws some jabs and he switches to southpaw and then he goes for the hook and then he goes back to orthodox and he does it several times during the round. Like people talk like that's what he's doing. That's not what he does. He didn't adjust to their style. He switched his stance, and they had a bad time. They couldn't figure him out at southpaw, and he beat the shit out of them to his credit. But this idea that he like adapted to these dudes, and again, not saying he hasn't beat guys with different styles, but if you're gonna say that his specialty is to adapt to anything, his specialty is to figure out his opponents, download data, and then figuring them out. If you're gonna make those claims, right? Then it is fair to ask, who did he do that against? That's what's fair to ask. And it's all fair game. You see, I had to sit here for months and watch even Crawford himself shit on Canelo's resume, shit on the guys he's fought. Oh, it's when he fought them. Oh, yeah, it's because they were older, and I got to hear all this crap. But then the moment I return the same energy, all of a sudden, oh, come on, we can't do that. Oh, you're being unfair to Crawford. Oh, you're being like, what? It's fair game at this point. It's fair game. We can't give Canelo credit for the Triple G wins because, oh, he aged them out. Oh, he got older, right? Even though Triple G wasn't coming off like a car crash that almost killed him, right? He wasn't one-legged like a Benavidez. He didn't have both fucking orbital bones, fucked up. Okay, his dad was insane that he wasn't motivated anymore, so he had one foot out the fucking door. Oh, it's on now. It's on. See, this is fight mode now. You want to spread some truth? Let's do it. Let's do it. Saul Canelo Alvarez. Let's use logic and reason for a moment. Okay, let's just stop for a moment. Put emotion aside. Let's put it aside for a moment. Put emotion to the side. Put your biases to the side. Put who you want to see win to the side. Set it aside for a second. All right? Let's just set it aside. And I'm going to ask a series of questions. And while I ask a series of questions, just answer the question in your head. Don't fight it. Don't say, oh, you only say this. Don't try to figure out where I'm going with it. Just answer the questions step by step. Just do it. Okay? Who has fought the better fighters? You know the answer. It's just who has fought the better fighters, the better opposition throughout their career? Second question. Name me a fighter better than Canelo that Crawford has ever fought. Name me one. Name them to me. I want to hear it. Name me a fighter better than Crawford that kind of fought. Boom, Floyd. And we got some other names that are very debatable. Is Crawford better than Triple G? Is Crawford better than Bivol? Well, is he? You see, like all of a sudden, it's a lot harder. It's a lot hazier the other way. Has Crawford ever faced someone who hits as hard as Canelo? And ask yourself the same question the other way around. Has Canelo faced somebody who hits as hard as Crawford? See, this is where logic should be sinking in. That's what should be saying. It doesn't mean ever. It's just one question to one answer, right? Has Canelo ever fought somebody as fast as Crawford? I believe he has. I do. Crawford's fought guys faster than Canelo, right? Has Crawford ever faced someone with the chin like a Canelo? What? Yeah, he knocked down Porter and secured a win, but like Porter's been knocked down by Broner and other fighters. Like it's not, bro. Porter was known for getting knocked down late in fights. Like it just, this is a different animal. And now he's fighting a guy that's never been knocked down. The same with Canelo. He's fighting a guy that's never been knocked down. But then the other question is, back to the first question, have they faced someone who hits that hard? Whose weight class is this? Who's more natural to the weight class? These are fair, logical questions, right? Fair and logical. Who? There's other questions like if you use logic and reason, right? So when somebody says, "Oh well, what about this? Crawford's never lost," right? Okay, but what about the quality of opposition? Right? Like it's, I'm not saying it's bad. It's not bad. But compared to Canelo's quality of opposition, it doesn't, doesn't quite hit the mark, does it? And why does that matter? And then not because you could take your resume to a fight and like I get that. But it matters because we're assessing here several factors. Several of them, right? I believe, just my opinion, but if you use logic and reason, you should come with a conclusion that Canelo should be favored to win this fight. So all the platitudes and just things that people are saying, Bud knows how to adapt to anything. It doesn't, there's no like real evidence and no high-level skillful fighters that he's fought at that degree for us to make that assessment. If anything, that applies more to Canelo. Canelo's fought better fighters with different styles as well, right? Who knew how to fight with those styles at a much higher level. He fought Billy Joe Saunders, right? Who was undefeated, a world champion, right? Was a great boxer and mover. But he's also fought aggressive fighters and knocked them out as well. He's fought guys that towered over him, right? Like if you ever wondered how would Canelo do against Sebastian Fundora? Well, I mean, you can argue he fought a better version of him with Callum Smith. Like he fought a guy that was that tall and had a certain game plan against him and beat him, right? He fought a Kovalev, a puncher, 175, and had a certain game plan to beat him. He fought Triple G twice and fought differently with different game plans of both of those fights and made adjustments and adapted to what Triple G was bringing. A fighter, by the way, was much better than anyone Bud's ever fought. He's fought aggressive punchers. Most better than any type of aggressive puncher that Crawford has fought. He's fought boxers and movers better than anyone in Bud's resume. And he's beat them. So who's really the one that adapts and adjusts to different styles? Who's the one that's actually shown it at a championship level? Well, that's Saul Canelo Alvarez. And that just and part of the reason why people think, like, a lot of it is intuition, right? People are they're relying on their intuition. So it's well, I think Canelo's on a decline, so therefore I think Canelo's going to lose, right? So that's like, he hasn't looked the same lately. Now, he's dominated his fights. I mean, for the most part, from what I've seen. I was never like, oh my God, he's in danger of losing his Munguia fight. I never felt that way. I never felt like he was in danger during the fight before or during with Berlanga. I was never worried that he's not going to win that fight. I felt he clearly just outclassed those two guys and just kept the gear where he needed to keep it to win. That's what I saw, right? People want to read too much into it. You're relying on intuition. I'm going to tell you another pattern I see with a lot of these people picking Bud. They have a pattern of picking against Canelo a lot. A lot. Some of those people picked Munguia to beat him. Some of those people picked Billy Joe to beat him. Some of those people picked I've seen some that actually picked Plant to beat him. A lot of these people have been picking against Canelo, and they said a lot of the same things. Well, Canelo's too slow. He's slowing down. He doesn't look the same. Oh, Canelo, he has trouble against movers. Oh, Canelo, he's going to have trouble with the size of this guy. He weighs him by too much. Oh, Canelo, no, this style's going to be too much, right? The guy who's fought more styles at a higher level is Canelo. Like that's just the truth. I don't even think that's debatable, quite frankly. And if you want to make the conversation about it's about when they fought him, right? First of all, you could do that with anybody's resume, and I'll prove it because I've been doing it to Bud. Sean Porter wasn't the same. You can make a really good argument. Sean Porter was just out there trying to collect a check, going through the motions, and it was actually doing really good against Bud, right? And Bud's surprised. He's being told, hey, you're behind in the cards. And went out there and, look, executed, got the knockout. But at the end of the day, this was a Porter that had a foot out the door. And when you hear the dad of Sean Porter say, yeah, Sean Porter, he just didn't have that, I don't think my son really had that love for boxing anymore. And I didn't like what I saw in training. Like, I mean, if that's not a red flag, I don't know what is. So I think people are relying on intuition in this fight. Maybe your intuition is right, but you're relying on intuition. You're relying on, well, I think Bud could do it. I think Bud will figure it out because Bud is special. And then we hear the platitudes, right? But Bud is special. Bud is different. He will figure it out. Bud doesn't know how to lose. Bud adjusts to any style. Like you hear these things, right? That really don't mean anything. People are just saying this. I heard Tarver say, oh, Bud, he has a supercomputer. He calculates everything. And then he breaks you down and he figures you out. And look, I'm a fan of Bud Crawford. But the way they're breaking this down is definitely post-Errol Spence performance syndrome. That's what it is. I think many saw the Spence fight as a 50-50 fight. They thought it was going to be competitive. And they had a shock when Bud went out there and just annihilated Errol Spence with absolute ease, destroyed him as I said he would, right? And then now people, they have this, because think about it. How many times have you heard when you're listening to Bud Crawford, people that are picking Bud Crawford to win, especially like the diehard Bud Crawford fans, how many times do you hear them bring up Spence and what people were saying before the Spence fight? And see, told you, It was going to be easy, but people said Spence was going to be too much, too big, too strong. People said Bud wasn't going to be able to keep up with the pressure of Spence, and people hyped up Spence, and they said Spence will be too much. And the reality is, they keep bringing that up. It's intuition. That's what it is. I don't know how he's going to do it, but he's a switch hitter. He's going to figure it out. And then they really don't have an explanation to, like, well, what's going to happen when Canelo fucking gives him a chingazo? And Bud's never felt something like that. Because logically speaking, if you use your logic, right? Use your logic and reason, people. Just answer this question seriously. Like, put your biases aside. Has Bud ever been hit by anyone like he's going to get hit by Canelo? Has he ever felt punches that hard in his life in a real fight? Not in sparring where guys cannot go like that, 100% like that. They can't. You can't go injured into your fucking fight. Has he ever experienced anything like he's getting, like a hit like he's going to feel? Well, that explains. You see, the brain is a funny thing. It's a defense mechanism. Everyone knows the answer to the question. Everybody. Everyone knows Bud's never been hit like the way he's going to get hit by Canelo. Right? So, what's the defense mechanism? Well, he's not going to get hit. Now, Bud's a magician. The defensive prowess of Bud. The ring IQ of Bud. Oh, Canelo's not going to land those right hands. The center line. He's going to be in the center line. He's going to be out of the center line. Canelo's going to be, you can't hit what your eyes can't see. The best chin's the one that doesn't get hit. Yet, use your logic and reason. When the fuck, excuse my French, have you ever seen a Bud fight where he doesn't get hit? What the fuck are you guys talking about? He got hit by Gamboa. He got hit by Mean Machine. One-legged Benavides hit him. What are you guys talking about? Bud's a great fighter, but don't sell me a bill of goods with no evidence. Right? If we use logic and reason, there's only two possibilities here. Two. All right? Two possibilities. Possibility number one, this is just you guys using intuition and hoping that Canelo's just slowing down enough. He's not going to land flush on Bud because you know what's going to happen if Canelo lands flush on him. You know Bud cannot sustain that. But the way, like your logic and reason tells you that you know this. So you have convinced yourself that Bud Crawford is this magician and has this defensive prowess that we have never witnessed in any of his fights. This is a dude in his late 30s, and you guys are like, you're painting this picture of Pernell Whitaker or Floyd Mayweather, and that's not who Bud. Bud's a great fighter, but that's not Bud. So it could be that, right? Or it could be, and which means you're like you're fooling yourself into it, and you know he's going to get hit. Or you would have to believe that Bud purposely just let himself get hit, just threw all caution to the wind, just didn't care enough to not get hit. Right? Let me bring up some stats here, okay? You would have to believe that Bud was just really not fighting at his best all these years, and he's been planning for this one moment. He's going to have the performance of his life. he's going to have to surpass the Errol Spence performance. Because even Spence was hitting him. And Spence was hurt very early in the fight and never got his bearings back. Right? It looked like Spence was his balance wasn't good and he was still landing on Bud. Now you can say, oh wow, that's his Bud was hurt already. Like, man, you can tell me whatever you want to tell me. Right? Whatever you like. I don't know, man. I think if we use Occam Razor, you guys are just saying these things. And enough people are saying it, and you're getting this confirmation bias, right? So when you hear a Tim Bradley say, oh, he's special, his defense is top notch, he ain't even going to get hit by Canelo, right? It gives you that confirmation bias, right? And you start to believe it. And then we have this big group thing going on. And we have all these people saying things about Bud that they weren't even saying before, like he fought Spence, right? But after that Spence performance, people are saying things about Bud Crawford that they never said before. And God forbid anybody suggests that Bud Crawford is no longer that Spence wasn't quite the same Spence, that Spence looked off that night. God forbid anybody says that, right? That's not Crawford's fault. Like, who the fuck's talking about fault and blame? And we're just talking strictly, right? We're talking strictly logic and reason. When it comes to logic and reason, like feelings and who deserves their credit and whose fault it is, none of that matters. None of it, right? If we're trying to assess a fight between two great fighters like Canelo and Crawford, right? And you want to portray Crawford straight away because of that Spence performance, then it does matter if Spence was 100% or not in that fight. You can't, it wasn't as faulted away as if it didn't happen. Okay? So all I'm saying is, all I'm trying to emphasize to you guys is the following. There's all this talk about size, right? And the things I'm hearing, it's like unbelievable to me. I'm telling you guys. When I'm listening to people and the things they praise Canelo for, right, are like, I'm not saying they're trivial things. I'm not saying they're not important things, right? But it's like anything but the ring IQ. Anything but his abilities of being a great fighter himself, right? So it's, his preparation. Oh, Canelo, one thing's for sure, he comes prepared. Right? You know what that sounds like to me? Right? It's kind of like in football when they say a quarterback is great at time management. Oh, he's a good manager of the game. Right? They don't talk about the arm. They don't talk about his reads. Right? They don't talk about his way to read defenses and set up the pass and know when to go for the run or his abilities on his feet to extend the play or anything like that, right? How to call audibles and just his when it seems to me like they're giving Canelo the time manager, like they do to quarterbacks, right? Yeah, he's a good manager. He manages the game very well, Canelo. He's a good, he comes prepared. He brings his binder and stuff, and he, and he takes it, and he comes in shape. One thing for sure about Canelo, he's going to be in shape. One thing for sure, he makes weight, Canelo. You know what I mean? Another thing for sure about Canelo is that, it's like these things are kind of crazy to listen to. What? No, no. Yeah, he has one of the best IQs in the sport, which he does. No, not that. We can't give him credit for that. What? Why would we give him credit for that? He's just a good manager. Like, you know what I mean? He's a good time manager. You know what I mean? He knows how to manage the game. That's like they're talking like that's Canelo, bro. Oh, Canelo, he's done. This is another one I've heard. Like, yeah, Canelo, he's done, what he could with his abilities. Shout out to Christine. I heard her say, oh, Canelo, he's got, I guess he's got good waist movement. What? Canelo, he's one of the best with his waist movement in the whole sport. Like, what are we even doing here? Canelo, the thing with Canelo is that we know for sure he's going to come in shape. Like, bro, like they're giving him like the participation award, like credit here. It's insane. One thing for sure with Canelo, right, is that he comes prepared, right? He tries his best. We know that, right? Meanwhile, Crawford, his abilities to be a magician in the ring, and he only gets hit if he wants to get hit. Like, you know what I mean? I heard somebody say that. I literally heard someone say, Crawford, he's only going to get a hit if he wants to get hit. That's always been Crawford. Like what? What are we, like, what the fuck is going on, bro? You find me people talking like that about Crawford. Bro, I remember before the Spence fight, very few people praised Crawford as much as I did. People were like, oh man, you're praising him a little too much. You know what I mean? And I still feel the same way about Crawford, but a lot of this praise, honestly, it's like out of control. It's out of control, bro. Right? And a lot of it is based on stereotypes. That's what a lot of it is based on. Right? A lot of it is stereotypes, right? The Mexican fighter isn't the skilled one. It's the aggressive fighter. Someone that comes forward, takes two to land one. You know what I mean? He needs to land this haymaker, just high guard, just plodding forward, just throwing bombs. Like, I'm thinking like they're describing Antonio Margarito, bro. I'm like, the way they're describing Canelo, like, this is insane. This is crazy. CDS, Canelo derangement syndrome. I also think there's a lot of people that, and to a certain degree, I understand it, but there's a lot of people that hold like a contempt for Canelo. They're annoyed with him. There's things that Canelo has said that even I didn't like, right? When he says, I can fight whoever, I could do whatever I want. Like I didn't like that either, but I think people are holding grudges. I think people are like, it's emotion, right? So when you add like post Spence performance, Bud praise with, you have that syndrome with the CDS, Canelo derangement syndrome, right? It's like this explosion. It's this massive explosion of like the inevitable. Oh, they're not going to give Canelo any credit. They're ready to completely shit on Canelo Alvarez. They're ready for all that. Point blank. Can I get a period, ladies and gentlemen? Nothing wrong with picking Bud, but what you need to do is admit that it's intuition. That's what it is. It's hope. Right? Look, and sometimes intuition's right. But, and this is just my opinion, logically, like Canelo should win this fight if you use reason and logic. Because everything they say about Bud, just start to break it down, right? He's a switch hitter. It's true, right? But, okay, well, tell me what he's going to do by switching in the rounds that's going to, like, throw Canelo off or something. And what evidence have you seen that that'll throw Canelo off? Have you seen something against southpaws that throws him off? Because I think he's done very good against southpaws, right? Oh, well, the speed is he's gonna have a hard time with that. Well, is this the first fast guy that Canelo's fought? No, right? So is that enough? You may think it is, but at that point, it's intuition. It's what it is. That's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So we have to put it in perspective, right? Got to put it in perspective. We got to think about these things. Break it down. Like ask yourself, these things sound good. Like it sounds like always a switch hit. Like it makes it sound like in every fight, Bud is just switching it up. And like, no, like the times that are significant that Bud has switched is when he was losing or having a hard time fighting orthodox, and then he switched to southpaw. So I guess what you're telling me is, so the conclusion, at least if you use logic and reason, is, well, if he happens to start orthodox, he'll eventually resort to his best form, which is southpaw. Is what you're telling me, right? When people say, oh, but he could adapt to any style. Ladies and gentlemen, that's just people just saying shit. They're just saying it sounds good, right? Oh, yeah, he could adapt to anything. But like, it'll be one thing if Bud was in fights with top level opposition, right? And he showed things in fights to adapt to somebody's style. When all Bud has done is what every top level fighter does, is beat guys with different styles. But then the question is, how good were those guys? It starts to fall apart. At least in my opinion. Oh, Bud, he's built different. Again, that's a statement of intuition, right? That's a statement you say when you really don't know how he's going to do it. You just feel like you believe he'll figure it out and he'll do it, right? Which is fair. You have your prerogative to do that, but and Canelo's not built different. He's just regular, right? Canelo just a regular dude. I think all these top guys at this level are built different. I think both these fighters are special fighters. But if you use logic and reason, it all comes back to Canelo winning this fight. Every time. All day, every day. Right? If you just like, you know what I mean? There are strengths that Bud is, that you can use logic and reason to know that Bud has better footwork and that he has faster feet than Canelo. But it doesn't just end there. At some point, you got to get in the pocket, you got to get in range, you got to throw punches. And what I have found, the evidence shows, right, that Bud Crawford is not this magician that doesn't get hit. He's not. Bud is not this fighter that you could point to the Victor Postol fight, right? But fought Postol a certain way, right? Used movement, outboxed him, right? That's probably the one fight where you could say Bud wasn't as aggressive like he was in other fights. But two things. That was a lighter version of Bud, many years ago with less muscle mass put on. And most importantly, Victor Postol was a good fighter. But Victor Postol's no Saul Canelo Alvarez. Victor Postol has nowhere near the ring IQ of Saul Canelo Alvarez. Like, you know what I mean? Another thing. So, one thing I'm hearing a lot, and shout out to Christina, I heard her say this. Oh, Canelo, he needs to set his feet before he throws his haymakers, right? Yeah, every fighter that throws a power punch needs to have a foundation, right, to throw a punch. But again, we're talking about high-level boxing here. If that was a deficiency so bad, then why didn't Billy Joe Saunders take advantage of that? Why didn't Caleb Plant take advantage of that? Why couldn't all these other fighters he's fought take advantage of it? But what else does Canelo do? Not every punch he throws does he set his feet and throw. Not every punch. Also, I think people are overlooking the explosiveness of Canelo on those first two steps. Very sneaky and very quick, which is not what you hear a lot of people say when it comes to Canelo. Oh, yes, slow feet, yes, slow feet. That's all they say. But he's very explosive on that first step, especially. And then you add the feints to it, right? Canelo's really good with the feints. So you don't know, in the anticipation of what he's going to do, you don't know if right now he's setting his feet in order to throw or if he's waiting to counter you, right? Canelo is a aggressive fighter. Well, is he? Is he a pressure fighter? To my good friend that called him a pressure fighter and reduced him to that. Canelo knows how to apply pressure. It is a strength that he has, but that's not what he is. Canelo Alvarez can also box on his back foot. He can also counterpunch. He's a really good counter puncher. He's really good at being aggressive, pulling back, and then countering off of that. He's really good at anticipating what his opponent is bringing. A very versatile fighter, but if you want to listen to the Timothy Bradleys of the world, if that's what you want to do, if you want to believe that Canelo he's an Antonio Margarito with the credentials, right? If that's what you want to believe, you go ahead and do that. Canelo is a puncher, pressure fighter, and a boxer puncher. And I'm gonna tell you right now, he's one of the smartest fighters in the game, and you guys are gonna find that out. It's not an impossible task for Bud, because I know Bud Crawford's a good fighter, but I'm not relying on intuition here. That's not what I'm going to rely on. I'm not going to rely on having the faith in Bud. Bud's different. He will figure it out, right? Bud, he's built different. Bud, he's a magician. Bud, he's like a computer. Bud, he's built it like all these things that people say, right? All these things that people say. All platitudes. And listen carefully, they're all platitudes, guys. It doesn't really address the obstacle at hand. It doesn't address it. Listen carefully to what they say. It's all intuition. Do I believe that a lot of these people think Bud's going to win? Yes, but they're following their intuition. That's what it is. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. There's going to be so much to talk about. Have you watched Eric Morales against Junior Jones? Have you guys watched that fight? Eric Morales set up his punches very similar to Eric Morales, by the way. Canelo, he sets up very similar to Eric Morales. You look at Morales, and you don't really see like this really quick guy on his feet, but very similar foundation, lighter weight class, so he's naturally faster than Canelo on his feet. But for the weight class, it's very similar in speed for the weight class, right? Same foundation, same tactics, very similar anyway. Similar feints, right? Similar setup. It's very similar in a sense, right? And I used to like Morales would use one of his hands to feint, right? And Canelo does that a lot. And Junior Jones, a great boxer, really good puncher. That was his weight class. It was dangerous. Beat up Marco Antonio Barrera, by the way, but I'm just throwing that out there. You know what I mean? But I think that's a fight people should watch. Let's just give that fight a watch, right? And I think there's a kind of a road there to use in order to beat Bud Crawford. But here's the thing, right? And the one important thing is this: Canelo's more versatile than people are giving him credit for. It's surprising. I don't know if, since he's the bigger man, we can't give him the credit for that. I don't know what it is. But I'm telling you right now, another big difference here is the power, right? The strength difference. And I think it's to be very, and again, we could use logic and reason. One of them is Canelo, naturally bigger man. He's a super middleweight champion. He's fought much bigger dudes. But what are people using? They're using again, it's intuition. Like, I think Bud's stronger. He used to be a wrestler, and have you seen him lift stuff? He's a stronger man. And nothing logically should make you believe that Crawford's going to sustain that type of strength throughout a 12-round fight against Canelo. But again, it's intuition. That's what it is. Remember Jermel was taking pictures with his chains and look at me, I'm bulking up. None of it mattered. As soon as he felt that chingazo, he was like, fuck. Dude took a knee and was contemplating life. And then he made a decision to do something I've never seen Jermel do. Just, you know what? I'm a chill. I'm a chill here, man. I'm going to chill. That's what he did. So, with that said, this is D-Style. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. I'm out. Peace.